Steve, college football, Iowa State, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I lean Iowa State, but I don't know a damn thing about it other than I love the coach and I like watching them play on TV when I do catch them.
Yeah, it's a fascinating matchup. Place is going to be great. Game day's going. I'm with you. I like Iowa State in this matchup. It's 5 in a row. Iowa's won. And I went back and looked. In the last 4, Chris, Iowa has 0 turnovers. And, like, that is just the mantra of Iowa, right? And it's funny because when you look at Iowa State, Matt Campbell, who you love, I love, has kind of built his program with, like, Big Ten ideas. They don't let anybody behind you on defense. They always try and stay in manageable situations on offense, and that's frustrated Big 12 teams. And that's gave him success in this league. And it's a contrast of styles of what we see in the Big 12. But when you get into this game, it's like you're playing against yourself almost.
Right.
So I like Iowa State here. I love the personnel they have. They love like 12 personnel. They got 2 tight ends that are awesome in Allen and Kolar. They also got 2 other guys. We could see some 14 personnel that gets the old 9 techniques a little nervous out there.
I hate
gets
that.
A little nervous.
I hate 13. I hate 14.
Yeah.
I'd rather have like 2 big tackles, like a big tight end, like an overhang that's 320. Because when you get all those 250-pound guys, they work in coordination really well. You guys did, dude. So
they're the best athletes on the field.
Well, I don't want to go that far.
Come on.
But there's a lot of traffic with 14 personnel.
Yeah, and they do a great job with it. And they got all their whole O-lines back, and they didn't play well last week. It's one of those deals, somebody had their way with William and Mary last week, but this wasn't Iowa State against Northern Iowa. Northern Iowa was a good FCS program. They had like 21 starters back. Iowa State ran 60 plays on 10 drives. Like, it doesn't get more boring than that. So I think they were holding everything in, just get by with a win. And I expect a big day for Iowa State with the home crowd behind them. I think that's going to be a huge lift for them. So I like Iowa State.
Giving out free picks here. Do you like them to cover at 4.5?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
Yeah, I do too. I do too.
Okay.
I'm glad we're parking our cars same garage.
Yeah.
Shout out to Dave Damashek. Hey, Oregon, Ohio State. I mean, this feels big. It feels early. We're getting some really good matchups, man. What do you think happens here? And do you look at this as, like, we asked Kirk Herbstreit this earlier in the week. You said Ohio State is it in the Big Ten, essentially. Do you feel the same way after that first game?
Yeah, I do. I mean, just because of the big playability. Just look, I mean, they're in a hostile environment. They're losing. And I think they had 3 2-play drives in the second half, and it's what they have and nobody else does. The big play capability. And then when you look at this week, the Thibodeau injury is huge. He's been a boot, I guess. They've been trying to get him go. Cristobal said they got nicked up against Fresno State with some other injuries. So that's kind of scary to me when you're going into Columbus in front of a sold-out crowd, because I love both offense coordinators. I've said Ryan Day is my favorite play caller in college football. I really like the offensive coordinator for Oregon and Joe Moorhead, but I think they got to run the ball to be in this game. They have a quarterback, Anthony Brown, who used to be at BC. He ran the ball 16 times last week, and they got 2 running backs with Vardell and Ty, and they each around had 15, 16 carries. But what I don't know yet is Ohio State. We saw them get gashed against Minnesota on the run. So was that personnel? Was that Minnesota doing some good things? They do some really cool stuff with their inside zone games. And then obviously Ibrahim was a great running back that got hurt late in that game. But does Oregon, can they run the ball effectively on the road, which you have to do, in order to be in these games when you're getting 14.5 points. So I would lean Ohio State just because I think that receiving group is just so good. And I don't think Oregon can stop them.
Yeah. And it's funny. You made a great point about Iowa State being like the outlier in their conference. Ohio State's like the inverse. You know what I mean? Like, and it works for them. It works for both programs in a big way. So the line there is 14.5. A lot of points there, but if I had to, I'm taking the Buckeyes at home. Texas, Arkansas. Texas favored by 7. Your guys down there. Are you as bullish as you were a few months ago on Texas?
Not really. I think this is going to be the toughest environment in all college football this week. Like Arkansas, Texas, when you think back, old SWC, like that's an old rivalry. And anytime Arkansas people can get people from Texas to come to them, I don't think they're going to they're not going to treat them well. I mean, it happened last week. I talked to a couple of guys I know on the Rice staff, and, they didn't even get to the team hotel. They're getting double birds and pats on the old bus as they're pulling into the hotel. So I think a really hostile environment. Texas has got a quarterback who's, Hudson Card is great, but he's young. He never started in a road game. I think he's got some things to overcome there. I think it's a tight game. If I leaned, I would take Arkansas with the points there at home.
Hey, Utah, BYU, we're running around talking about canceling the Sun Devils because it's offensive. We got a holy war here. I mean, have you ever been to the holy war, and do people get hurt?
I've never been to one, but I've been to a home game at each of those stadiums. And listen, we talked about Utah previously, the state of Utah on this podcast, and they got like a switch or something that it just is like nice, and then it's just straight evil. And they're both evil when this game comes out and stuff happens it's crazy. Utah's won a bunch in a row. BYU did not. They lost a ton, obviously, with Zach Wilson, some old linemen, and they lost their offensive coordinator, which I thought was a big loss because I just liked the way they took advantage of having 25-year-olds when other teams don't have 25-year-olds. And I think, I picked Utah to win the Pac-12, but they're only given like 6 or 7. Like, that smells fishy to me. I wouldn't, with all the emotion in this game, I wouldn't touch that game.
I think they're given 7, and I'm not touching it.
No.
And lastly, before I get your one lock, we're looking at Stanford, USC, your guys down there at the Coliseum, 10:30 p.m. These are the games I love, the ones that when you're at a bar. That's the thing I miss the most about college football, watching a late Pac-12 game with no sound at a bar, people yelling, you're half drunk and you're watching Stanford play. How are we going to be feeling, Steve, at about 10:30 p.m. when it's Stanford USC time?
Not great. Not great at all. SC, beat me. I gave out San Jose State last week. They got a big pick 6 and got it. There was 13-7 in the fourth quarter, and they go on the roll. But Stanford's got some things to work out. They're obviously not as talented as SC. And it's funny you mentioned you were the side of playing early and watching the late games. I was always the one playing these late Pac-12 games, getting up, watching game day, and then being stuck always having to watch Northwestern and Indiana, that Big Ten noon game. And it was it ended up working out good because by junior year, you just fall right back to sleep watching that.
That's great. There's nothing more anxiety ridden than hey, your second nap of the day. I think I'll take another nap, because I play at midnight.
It happened, yeah.
So yeah,
it's a totally different contrast. You saying that, but I don't think Stanford has the goods to stop SC. You mentioned it's a night game. The Coliseum at night is pretty awesome. And it'll be rocking, I'm sure, Saturday night.
Yeah, when you're in college, you love a night game. When I got in the pros, early on, we didn't have a lot in St. Louis, but by the time I got older, 30-plus years old, I was like, can we get this thing out of the way? I don't need Al Michaels to ignore me all night, and so, yeah, USC, Stanford, 10:30, that should be lopsided. No offense, Steve. Do you have a lock this week?
My lock involves the Cavaliers, and I'm taking Illinois plus the 10. Plus the 10. I expect Virginia to win the game, but when I look at Illinois, everybody watched that game, unfortunately, against Nebraska because it was week 0. And then Illinois loses last week to UTSA, and it's not a surprise to me. I thought UTSA is a better football team. They got some guys in San Antonio that could go. They go up to Champaign. They get a win over a Big Ten team, which is awesome for Conference USA. Illinois just has always never given themselves, a shot offensively. And, they would give the ball to the other team, constantly in tops in the league, in the country, in turnovers. And when I look at this now, they played those 2 games with a backup quarterback, and they didn't have 1 turnover in those 2 games. So that tells me Bielema is stressing those kind of things. And I think that's going to help them being on the road in a hostile environment in Charlottesville at 11 a.m. Eastern. I think Illinois has enough to hang around. I expect Virginia. I mean, they looked great last week. I like the quarterback a lot, but I think Illinois can hang around within 10.
And that's how we're supposed to look against Bill and Mary, right, Meg?
Yeah, I reckon we ran out 4 quarterbacks in the same play multiple times.
I mean, hey, we do things a little
4 quarterbacks.
Was it from your own end zone, and did they one throw to the other one?
We didn't.
Fortunately
have one of those situations.
But one was wearing 98, the other was wearing 99. We're a different group these days.
And by the way, this could be the sucker bet of the week. 75% of the money is on the Illini. So, and I would be remiss if I didn't mention that we have some beautiful ball games to look at. Utah BYU that's going to be 5 Bevel Conways there, Macon. I mean, that's from a color standpoint. It's blue and it's red. It's a night game. It's gorgeous. You've got Oregon, Ohio State. The Oregon unis look great this week, by the way.
Yeah, the white.
Oh, yeah, they look good.
Chris, Steve is all over the Pittsburgh, Tennessee uni matchup.
Oh, he is.
Yes.
Are we looking at the blue?
That's a
blue
1
and
seed.
Yellow? Are we looking at the blue and yellow?
No, they're going to go probably the mustard yellow helmets and pants and the white jersey, which I like a lot. And then obviously Tennessee at home. Tennessee's just got to get back to the black cleats, though. Got to get back to
Tennessee in my backyard, Neyland Stadium, my number one.
Yep.
All right, so here we go. We've got pro football coming up, obviously. But before we do, make sure I'm not stupid here, Steve. This is the point in each Friday pod that I'm going to ask you, like you're my gambling dad, if I'm pissing money away. App State +9?
Here's the deal, and I've talked about it a bunch this week, and it goes back to who App State's playing. They're playing Miami. Why do teams continue to play Alabama week 1? Like, I have no idea what to expect from Miami this week. I don't know if they're good. I don't know if they're bad.
That's hard.
Like, it's you know, really like it's just.
But I know they're beat
brutal.
up. But I know they're beat up, and I know that even if they didn't play Bama, you know, just without even looking at App State's roster, I just feel like App State is always scary.
Yeah, no doubt. And a couple years ago, everybody Mark Richt was still at Miami, and they went into a noon game in Boone, and everybody was picking Appalachian State, and Miami went in and worked them.
Yeah,
I want to say they beat them by like 40.
Yeah,
but yeah, I was the one who watched Appalachian State and East Carolina last week. I was that guy. Appalachian State's got some good receivers. They got a transfer quarterback who had a big name because he transferred out of Clemson, went to Duke, did not play well in Chase Bryce, but he looked a lot better last week. So it's Miami's got to win that game. I mean, for the ACC's sake, they got to get that game. They got to get Pitt, and they got to get NC State at Starkville. So that's a huge one for the ACC to get up off the deck after last week.
Yeah, I almost don't want to put myself in a bad spot where I got to root against the ACC.
I wanted to ask Steve, as someone who has just downloaded the WinBet app, the first of its kind on my telephone, if I just follow Steve 100% of the time, where am I ending up? 60%, 62%?
I want to say over the last 5 years, we're right around 59%.
I mean, that's nutty.
That's sharp as a knife. That's cutlery there.
So the numbers will tell you that we're due for a downfall. We're just doing whatever we can to go against that downfall.
Let's go 3 prologues. I'll start off, and if we've got an overlap, we can kind of give you the tie there. But I'm going Tennessee giving a field goal at home against Arizona. Listen, my thing with Tennessee here is when you're Arizona and you've been practicing out in that heat, you know, it's hot, but it's dry. Tennessee is going to feel a lot different, and I haven't looked at the forecast, but I'm assuming it's going to be toasty. It's going to be wet. And there's a guy named Derrick Henry who people haven't been tackling. And if you're Arizona, I don't care how much live work you've done, which I doubt they've done much of it. I don't think Cliff is like the let's do Oklahoma drill type guy. I think it's going to be a challenge to tackle this cat. Now, I know Julio's banged up, and I know there's some question marks, but I think this is a classic situation where the two styles of play week 1 favor the Tennessee Titans, and I like them there, and I might like the over too. So give me Tennessee giving a field goal against the Cardinals. I noticed this as I was perusing these lines, I feel like Houston money line should always be at least plus 200 this year. It should never be plus 150 like it is today. I know Jacksonville's bad, but like we need a little bit more of a nudge to bet the Texans. I'll just say that. Miami, New England, give me the under 43.5. I mean, there's a lot of question marks here. I might even like Miami to win this game, and I don't think they're the better football team. I think by the end of the season, New England's going to be far and away better than Miami. I think I'm not sure about Tua. I'm not sure about Tua. I'm also not sure about Mac Jones. And that's the reason that I think in the first game of the season, Brian Flores, who has a lot of experience, who might kind of know how Bill thinks, can heat him up. He can bluff a little bit, get him to throw him just a panic pass, and create a few turnovers. I like Miami in this first game, but for sure I like the under at 43.5. And then finally, take your pick, Packers or Ravens, man. I might even like the Packers a little bit better, given 4. And if you're not sure, I like the Ravens at 4.5. That's a lot of picks there. My 3, Packers, Tennessee, and the under in the Miami-New England game.
All right, we're on sort of the same side and some were completely opposite. My buddy Chris Felico, who we do a podcast with every week talking college football, he had a theory. The Bear. If you're in any survivor pools, he had a thing for you where you get 2 entries and take Jacksonville and Houston and one in each, and then you're never going to use those teams again, but you have a free ride where everybody, if they take one of the big dogs, you don't have to. So that's just something for the people in their survivor pools.
That's ballsy.
If you want to get two entries in there, looking at trying to help people get some money. That's all. With that, since 2013, division dogs are 26-9 against the spread. One of those this week is the Houston Texans. I will take that. The other one is the Dolphins. I will not take that. I think the Patriots defense will be ready, and I like the Patriots to come out and win that game and cover. The one issue I have, it goes back to Mac Jones and Tua. Let's face it, we're going to compare them all year. They're in the same division. Yep. They played at the same college. One came in for the other when the other got hurt. I think Miami has a lot more guys that could separate, and I think going back to your Flores point, I think he's going to use that, knowing that I think he can lock down. I know Jacoby Myers has come around in a nice player, but when you look at Miami, I mean, I love Gesicki. I think he is an absolute matchup nightmare, and I think he's going to be Tua's best friend. And then, you have the Devontae Parker on the outside. You got Waddle too, who's as shifty as there is. So I look at Miami having the edge down the road, but I can't go against Bill now with that defense back and knowing all the opt-outs and seeing what they looked like from a D-line standpoint. A lot of new numbers I was trying to get used to. With Yuta, I think he was wearing 9.
Yeah, it's a funky number, and I'm really excited about Udon, or if you're calling him Udon or Judon. I know Macon's
Judon. Yeah, my fault.
No, Macon's the name.
Judon.
The name
Judon.
Police. So
Judon.
Judon, that whole defense, man, like it's going to be fun to watch this Pats team. And, like I said, they might not get the win this week, but there won't be reason to panic. I think they end up in the 1 or 2 spot in that division at the end of the season with Miami trailing.
And my last one's Monday night. I like the Raiders as a home dog. I look at that Ravens defense, and I think they've lost a bunch of guys that are really key in what they could do, versatility wise, from a scheme standpoint. And I just think the Raiders, like, if this isn't it, like, when is it? They talk about how Carr's the guy. Waller's an ultra beast out there at tight end. I think they have the goods offensively. I expect a big year again from Jacobs. I love him. So I think the Raiders cover that number and be a nice home dog Monday night. So I'll go Texans. That'll probably be the last time I say them this year. Patriots, Raiders.
No, you're going to be saying the Texans a lot as you pick the other side.
Yeah.
Steve, thank you, brother. We will see you next week. This has been fun. I'm ready to put all these bets in, dude. I'm ready.
I have one question for you before I got out of here.
Yeah.
Sean McVay said he smelled Big Macs yesterday. Do you believe Sean McVay's ever eaten a Big Mac?
Yeah, I think so. I do think
really?
so.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. You think he's just like he's like paleo guy?
Health nut, yeah.
No, I don't think so. I think Sean
Okay.
McVay probably drinks a lot of tequila. We'll eat some Fuddruckers or whatever they drink or eat out there. I'm not an In-N-Out burger guy, so.
Oh, God.
Or you're an In-N-Out
All right.
burger guy.
Yeah,
Oh, it's so special. It's so different.
it is.
It's just way different.
It's so much better.
Try Riverside Lunch, man, Charlottesville, Virginia. You come visit us. We'll take you to Riverside Lunch. Okay?
Okay.
Steve, see you next week, man. Let's go win some money.
Yeah, we got to get making a new place for vacation.
Hey, actually, real quick, I want to do this before you get off, Steve. I found out who the least favorite teams of Taylor and Reid, our hardworking producers, are. And lifelong Broncos fan for Reid. So although he does not like the Raiders, his least favorite team?
Kansas City Chiefs. Wait, no. Seattle Seahawks.
He told me it's the Seattle Seahawks. He can't even decide who his least favorite team is. All right. And Taylor is a Jags fan. So who's your least favorite team?
It's actually the Cowboys.
Okay. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to put down $500 win total bets, and we're going to take the over on both of those teams. And they see that money if those teams hit the over. Okay. So you guys got to root for your
Seattle
least favorite
and
teams
Dallas
this year. You got to root for Dallas, and you got to root for Seattle, Reid, okay? There's 500 chickens on both those bets, okay?
Let's party.
Taylor's
This is called an emotional hedge.
It is called an emotional hedge, but
It is.
But I got to tell you, it sounds like they're going to be really pulling for the over in these situations, which is really fun. This is going to be awesome. All right, Steve, see you next week.
All right,
Love
go
you,
get a
Steve.
haircut. Go get a haircut.
Who, me? He's anti-mullet. He's anti-mullet.
It's not mullet.
It is a mullet now.
You got to be tighter on the sides.
It is tight on the sides, bro.
Tighter. A one.
That's not a
zero.
mullet. Are you serious? It's a fucking waterfall, dude. Look at that. It's Angel Falls right there. All right, Steve.
5.